Education Cabinet Secretary Migos has assured the schools that the delayed capitation funds will be released this week, explaining that the delay was due to pressing national commitments. Speaking at the 60th anniversary of Kereri Girls High School, Ogamba clarified that the recently disbursed 5% was part of the 50% allocation for the first term. The ministry has allocated 19 billion Kenya shillings for capitation this financial year, with a 50% designated for the first term, 30% for the second term and 20% for the third term. His remarks come amid concerns from school principals who have decried the allocation as inadequate.
The cohorts that were affected by that ruling, in terms of first years and second years, we were able to ensure that resources were released to them using other programs that we had in place, other methods that we had in place, and the resources have already been released to the students as we speak. The 50% that was supposed to be released this term for secondary schools, we've released 25% of that portion. So there's another 14 or 15 billion that is pending, and that figure is going to be released next week. We are aware of the strain that the schools are going through, and we're doing everything possible to make sure that the resources arrive in school for them to be able to continue.
The national chairman of the Kenya Primary Schools Heads Association, Johnston Musyoka, has passed away following a road crash in Athi River on Sunday. Police reported that Musyoka's four-wheel drive collided with a trailer on the busy Nairobi-Mombasa highway while trying to avoid an oncoming car. He died on the spot. Musyoka served as a Capture's acting national chairman since March 2021, following the retirement of Nicholas Gademia. Capture National Treasurer Kennedy Kev expressed deep sorrow, remembering Musyoka as a pillar of leadership in the education sector. Police have launched an investigation into the crash.
Pearl Newsbeat.
Wiper Party leader Kalonzo Musyoka has blamed President William Ruto for former Prime Minister Raila Odinga's failure to secure the African Union Commission chairmanship seat on Saturday, claiming it has damaged Kenya's image. Speaking at a church service in Kitui County, Musyoka argued that Ruto's involvement in mediating the crisis in the Democratic Republic of the Congo earlier this year undermined Odinga's candidacy. Musyoka emphasized that a former Prime Minister like Odinga should not have lost to a foreign minister, and attributed the setback to strained relations between Kenya and the Southern African Development Community. He claimed that the 16-member bloc had issues with the Ruto, which led to a lack of attendance at a crucial meeting, further impacting Kenya's diplomatic standing.
Jambo hili tusifurahie, liko na aibu, limeleta aibu kwa sura ya nchi ya Kenya. And I place the blame squarely on Raila, on Mheshimiwa William Samoei Arap Ruto, who was a chief campaigner. Alikuwa na nia yake nyingine pengine kwamba akimsukuma Raila basi atakuwa na easier time. He didn't know it was going to be very difficult. African heads of state are not fools.
Ahead of Saturday's AOC chairmanship elections in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, SADC urged its members to back Madagascar's Richard Randriamandrate in the polls, threatening Odinga's speed. But Djibouti's Yusuf eventually won the seat after garnering 33 votes, constituting the required two-thirds. In our places, Moussa Faki of Chad, who has held the position for 8 years.
Pearl Newsbeat.
Meanwhile, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi has urged Kenyans not to dwell on Raila Odinga's loss in the race for the African Union Commission chairmanship. Speaking after the 38th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government, Mudavadi acknowledged the significant resources and efforts invested in Odinga's campaign, but emphasized that the outcome was never certain. Mudavadi highlighted the year-long campaign, which involved extensive personal engagements and financial investment. Despite the setback, Mudavadi remained optimistic, stressing that Kenya's efforts were valuable and that life goes on, signaling the government's continued engagement in continental affairs.
The African continent is more important than any individual wishes or desires. So ladies and gentlemen of Kenya, who are my brothers and sisters, my message to you is that now this is behind us, let us look forward. All I can tell you that it is not easy to run around as an individual. You need the backing of your government, because these are government issues. These are government sponsored. The details will come out later in Nairobi.
This as a Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has called on President William Ruto and former Prime Minister Raila Odinga to continue working together to foster national unity. Speaking in Meru County on Sunday, Kindiki urged the two leaders to combine their efforts, similar to their collaboration during the African Union Commission chairmanship campaign. Kindiki praised Ruto and other African leaders who supported Raila in the hotly contested race. Despite Raila ultimately losing to Djibouti's Mohamed Ali Yusuf, he emphasized that Kenya's bid was strong with the 20 African nations backing Raila.
We just want to ask that the President and the former Prime Minister and all the leaders will continue working together to build the unity of Kenya, secure peace and stability for our country. The same way we were working together in that project, even if we didn't succeed. I pray going forward that the President, the retired Prime Minister, and all leaders, present and past, will work for national unity so that we can move the development of our country to the next level.
And across borders, Rwandan-backed M23 rebels have seized control of Bukavu, the second largest city in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo, capturing the regional governor's office. This marks the second city after Goma to fall to the rebels in recent weeks in the mineral-rich region. The Congolese government has acknowledged the city's capture, urging residents to stay home to avoid being targeted by the occupying forces. The UN and European nations have expressed concerns that the escalating conflict, which has displaced hundreds of thousands, could trigger a broader regional war. On Friday, the M23 captured Bukavu's main airport, located about 30 kilometers north of the city, before advancing towards the provincial capital of South Kivu.
Pearl Radio, the home of fresh and classic hits.